All right. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the show with your favorite Jackson. It's me. The Everyone else has like a fun show name. Jack. No, that doesn't work. All right. Anyway. Well, hello. Let's see. We got a few people in the chat. We got Nan, Katina Packbades, Alex Markle. Hello, welcome everybody. Joining me today is my host and co-host Peter.
Ooh. Without
And
a
also we
bird
have.
this time because my hands need to heal.
Oh, you just got attacked by
Oh yes,
pineapple too much.
he likes to bite.
And we also have Nestlig, who is one of my editors, my script editors.
Hello, I hope my mic is working now. I was
Yes.
Sounds
busy
much better.
working.
It is.
All right.
Much better.
All right. Good to be back.
Yeah, don't worry, Nestlig. I will be putting you to work on a script in the near future. I've had a lot of stuff that I've been working on between the PowerPoints for my class, which I'm constantly working on those, and finished. RJ and I finished the first chapter of Rockstar Volume 2. And then while I was reading that, I also got a script from Professor Dave that was 40 pages that I had to edit. So I've just been doing a lot of stuff. But now back to working on a script, which is the Grasshopper's Tale, which is going to be very normal and not weird. I have very normal comments on that video.
It's not suitable for Trump followers. Not weird.
Yeah. It's.
I mean that's a thing, right?
People.
Oh, no, that's a thing. We have to call them weird because apparently it freaks them out.
Yeah, I mean the things that have been said by them in the last week are pretty weird. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's understandable.
Another reason not to have the bird, because I need to make sure this guy's safe and they don't come and eat them.
Uh-oh, Jackson froze again, I believe.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, hold on.
Hold on. Wait. Maybe I can fix this.
I got it. I can fix it.
No, it doesn't.
There you go.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, anyway. Yeah, like, so for anyone who's, I don't know, interested in American politics,
or comedy.
There was the first and possibly only debate between Trump and Kamala on Tuesday evening. She beat him real bad. What can I say?
Yes.
I took extensive notes while watching it on their, like, when they talk about economic policy and foreign policy and public policy. And Trump really didn't say much of anything in terms of public policy. He talked a lot about how evil immigrants are. He talked a little bit about money, but not very much.
He did say that they might come up with a plan for healthcare.
They might. They may.
Yes.
Maybe.
When they come up with a plan, it's going to be a good one. And this was in response to, you said back in ... that you had a great plan. Mm-hmm. Apparently, it's still not there. Plan.
Well, maybe he had one, he forgot it. We have to consider that, you know.
Yeah. I love the response from the Republican Party. They told Trump, apparently, that if he's ever going to talk to Kamala Harris again and she says something, he shouldn't respond with talking. He just should make facial expressions. I think that would have helped during this debate too.
I mean, if I could have listened to him less, that would definitely help. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. His comments ranged from, I mean, he has his normal, bits of racism that he says, like it's always immigrants are bad. But one in particular is this new conspiracy that Haitian immigrants to Springfield, Ohio are eating pets when there's no evidence of that. It's just a thing that some conservatives made up and have been spreading around. And I actually watched part of a news clip that was done in Springfield, Ohio, And the reporter mentioned that there has been no uptick in crime since all these Haitian immigrants arrived. So, which I guess meant until the conservatives decided to start leveling bomb threats, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
So now there's, so that's cool. We love
Yeah,
that. It's not weird.
I agree
Anyway,
with Smitty. Trump should debate entirely in emojis. I think
yes,
that
absolutely.
might be a really good tactic for him, and most of his followers will understand it, or because we know they're not big on words.
He would just do very large hand, like thumbs down.
Yeah.
You know, he would have to make it like the biggest hand emoji he could find, but as a thumbs down. So, um, anyway, so that's what's going on in the wacky world over here in the U.S. of A. But let's see. So last time what did we do? We watched TTOR's review of the debate, um, and then we went back to watching Pamela Acker flounder on biology. I really love the comment that what did she say, Nestle? That we're trying to explain endosymbiosis after it's already happened. So what was it? Do you remember what her comment was?
I forgot.
It was
Honestly,
something along those lines. It was like we were like, wait,
I
what?
maybe we can do like a can we perhaps like go back a few minutes or maybe over a
Well,
minute
So
to repeat
I
it
don't know if I really want to go back and listen to it
again.
again.
no,
But
If,
in all fairness, I did set it back, and I have to because otherwise it's not going to be comprehensive when we start the video. But yeah, to my surprise
I remember. I
and
remember what
enjoyment,
happened.
we are starting with the question: do humans share any DNA with other animals? And then she explains how many DNA we share with bananas. Because bananas famously
Right.
are animals. I love
Right.
that part.
Yeah. Well, because as we discussed last time, that's it's not a response. It's what do you call it? She's just trying to make it seem absurd by doing it. She does what Kent Hovind does because I mean at their core all creationists are the same. It's the same lies and fallacies. What she's trying to do is say, well, isn't it crazy that you share some amount of DNA with a banana? So evolution is silly then.
Hold on. I ditched the bird because it bites. And now this.
I think your screen's frozen.
Is my screen? Yes, my screen is frozen.
Uh-oh.
Whoops.
We're
Okay.
having technical difficulties here in the studio.
For some reason, my camera cut out and my dog is attacking me. So I don't know if those things are.
They might be related. It's entirely possible. Yeah. But yeah, Pam. She said the bananas because Kent Hovind likes to say, "But you believe you're related to a mosquito." Like, well, yeah, we do share common ancestry with mosquitoes, just like we share common ancestry with banana plants. So these things are true. Has no bearing on the status of evolutionary theory. So don't know what you want. But of course, like they're not actually arguing any data. They're just saying this thing because it sounds silly to them, therefore it must be silly. I mean, there are lots of things that sound crazy, like what is it, like quantum tunneling, that sort of stuff. That sounds crazy. But is it true? Yeah, it's true. You just have to live with it. It's just a fact. Lots of things sound crazy. But what was it I read? I was rereading Lawrence Krauss's book.
It's an appeal. It's an appeal to intuition, basically. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I was rereading Lawrence Krauss's book, A Universe from Nothing, which is still a really good book. I really enjoyed reading it or rereading it. One of the points that he discusses is how a negative charge moving forward in time is mathematically equivalent to a positive charge moving backwards in time. With regard to
Yes.
the virtual particles and how they cancel each other out, and that's bananas to me. That is just insane. To
If
think
you
about.
if you look are you familiar with the Feynman diagrams?
That's what he was discussing. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. That you can see like antiparticles have the arrow pointing the opposite direction. And it's a pretty
Mhm.
clever trick that you that you see on those diagrams.
Yeah, it like I put the book down and I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that that's a thing. I'm not a fan. But yeah, I mean it's just true. Like it's just a fact of reality. We just have to live with it. It's not intuitive, you know. It doesn't make any sense in our uniform daily experience, but it is just true. So, at any rate,
But I remember what happened. I remember that happened last time. Like basically, she says that you cannot discuss something that happened before, but otherwise it's just like post hoc reasoning.
mhm,
Like, oh, you can, Your Honor. Like I made this joke before. Your Honor,
mhm.
you cannot discuss this case. The murder happened in the past. You cannot do this. Yeah,
Right. That was pretty funny. That's what she was saying about endosymbiosis. Like they're trying to
yeah.
come up with an explanation for this thing that happened. Well, yeah, that's typically how time works. Yes. Good job. Okay, Savage Alpinist Cobra for $5 says Hoenn being closely related to a mosquito isn't so hard to believe. They have similarly complex nervous systems after all.
Hmm.
Very true. Equally or similarly sized brains too.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. And Hoenn is a blood-sucking parasite that nobody likes. DM Jurassic Park was a documentary wing. Yeah, exactly right. So thank you for the $5. That argument that she made was quite silly and is really just not an argument in any real sense. But of course, she's talking to her flock of followers who have no idea what evolution is, how it works. So, all right. Anyway, I guess.
Have we ever maybe I'm mistaken, but have you ever met her before or discussed her before?
I
This?
haven't. Dapper Dinosaur did.
Mm.
It may have been you. I think someone mentioned that Dapper did a series on her,
Oh yeah.
which was not this video. It was a different. She gave like a lecture in those. But I don't believe I've ever interacted with anything of hers. At least not to my
Maybe
knowledge.
I'm remembering her from Dapper's videos. Then yes, that's
That
probably
could
because
be.
like I think I like do I remember her from anything? Yeah, probably from Dapper. Yeah.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, a lot of these guys, all circle the same drain, so it's possible we've come across her stuff before. I may have just forgotten. That could be on me. So
I like that expression. I'm going to steal that. They circle the same brain.
okay. Oh, I did it again. God dang it.
But it was a nice freeze frame though. You were
Yeah.
smiling pretty nicely.
There we
with that
go.
freeze
Not
frame.
like who was it we were watching? They paused. They were going like that. Who was
That was
that? That was the guy,
the German
the
guy.
Cambrian. Yes, yeah. Deflate. There we go.
Yes.
Deflate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every single pause was a winner. Literally almost. Yeah, I think everyone. And not
Yeah, those are pretty
intentionally. Because you can't do that
no,
intentionally.
we just paused it and he was going
Yes.
like every single time. Like yeah, Dapper's video is Pam Acker, Catholic creationist, which again, as we discussed last time, is unusual for Catholics. Vast majority of Catholics accept evolution. Like, I don't personally think I've met a Catholic creationist in real life. I just don't think I have. I've met creationists in real life, but they're pretty much always Protestants. Pretty much.
I have. I was on Twitter for less than a year, and I met a Catholic young Earth creationist. A young Earth creationist, no less.
Mhm. Yeah.
Never heard of that
Yeah.
before. But
Yeah, it's. And again, there's no.
He was from the UK too, which is even weirder.
That is weird. Yeah, they're like
Yes.
mostly non-religious there, aren't they?
No.
There was a really funny intro to a paper by Theodosius Dobzhansky, who was Greek Orthodox. And hold on, I have to read that quote because I really like it. Oh, come on. Work for me. I know that's not true. Oh, maybe. There we go. Okay.
Alex
This
Markel.
is from
Alex
this is from
Markel's.
a 1966 paper by Dobzhansky and Pavlovsky, and the paper starts off with, quote, "It has been questioned by His Holiness Pius the XII, among others, whether biology has really succeeded in making a species from another species." And then he, close quote. Then he proceeds to spend the rest of the paper talking about an instance where they generated a new species of Drosophila. Sorry, what'd you say?
Don't look now, but someone has a new sock account.
Oh, it's you, isn't it?
No.
That's not you?
No, that's not me.
Oh, I
That's
thought
why...
that was you. Well,
no. But I want to let you do the honors because he always
really?
says that I'm the one doing this, so...
Okay, well, nope, it's me, and it's usually me. I'm typically the one who does this.
Yes, and I have to say, Otangelo, your last words to me were, "I will never talk to you ever again." So this took, what, less than 2 months before you started talking to me?
Coming back like a bad ex, you just can't get rid of him.
He has a thing for me, I guess. So we'll never know. We'll never know. But I was going to say something because Alex Markel or Markel said, I mean, aren't Catholics known for being checks notes weird about birth control? Yes, because that would be messing with their dating pool. So sorry. Too much?
I actually have Jackson. I have a couple of books by Richard Sipe, the guy who was he was a monk, a Catholic monk for like over a decade, and then he got out and he wrote a few books on the relationship between celibacy and kitty diddling. And he wrote a few books on that. Actually, I have a couple of his books. I haven't read them yet because I'm trying, I'm trying to read a bunch of books right now and get through a bunch that have been on my shelf for a very long time, and newer books that I got more recently are just, it's going to be a while. So anyway, I mean, here we are after 4 years, and I'm still rereading The Ancestor's Tale by Richard Dawkins. So, is what it is. Okay. Anyway.
Well, I mean,
all right. Well, we were
in all fairness, if a book is good, you can reread it because people say that about the Bible all the time. Although I don't think that that's worth it. Oh, that's
so the start of the book. We're here.
So it's almost as thick as the Bible.
Let me see. We're on page 452 out of, I think it's 707. So most of the way there, more than halfway, I guess you could say. All right, let's get her started.
Okay.
See what Pamela Acker has to say about evolution.
So wait, but would you be like, how much in common would we have with a different animal?
Well, 50% of your genes are in common with a banana.
Okay.
So you're 50% similar to a banana. So that's your starting point.
Okay.
Actually, I'm sorry. Pause for a second. I'm sorry. And as we discussed last time, there's really no data to support that. Like, what does that even mean? There really aren't any papers out there that are doing, like, first of all, you have to figure out how many genes do we share in common with banana plants, and then from those genes, how much sequence similarity is there between the homologs. And unless you know any differently, I've never seen anyone even attempt to do that. So
I was just looking online, and I see, like, again, I prefer to see actually a paper, of course, but some websites say that it's probably like a genetic homology. Like, oh, this gene has recognizable homology with another gene found in banana. So like 50 to 60% of our genes have a homologous counterpart in bananas as well. That's maybe that could be the source of that.
Maybe, because I've seen Richard Dawkins mention it in his books before, but like I don't think there are any actual studies on it, at least as far as I'm aware. So so right now it's just kind of a meme circulating, basically. We don't really have hard data one way or the other. But actually, when she says you're 50% similar to a banana as a starting point, I mean, if we're doing like, what is the starting point? Wouldn't the starting point be our genetic similarity with bacteria? Wouldn't that be the starting point? They're the furthest from us.
Dutch people.
I also see that
Dutch people think alike. Nan just said it's 100% if you take 2 bananas. That's how Dutch people think, I guess.
What'd you say about Snopes?
I just saw that Snopes also tackles this claim. He says, like, fact check: do humans share 50% of their DNA with bananas? And they rate the claim false. And let's see here. What was the correction? Let's see here. Summary. Please load. Please load. It's a bit slow because I'm also using StreamYard right now. Our claims regarding 50% similarity, while likely overstated, are based on a comparison of similar functioning genes, not the specific DNA sequences that make up the human genome. Yeah, so I was, at least according to Snopes, Snopes is generally speaking very accurate.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
So yeah, so they are pretty good. So I think I will take them for the word. So I think it's pretty accurate to say that they are referring to the genes themselves, not the whole sequence of the whole genome.
They're just saying, so just the percentage of homologous genes is about 50%, somewhere around there. Okay.
Like we have X number of genes, and about 50% of them have a homologous counterpart in bananas.
And personally, I don't find that very strange. Like that makes decent sense, because we're going to have the genes that we both share, or inherited from our shared ancestors, and then we're going to have our like shared eukaryote like genetic toolkit. So that makes a good deal of sense. So okay, anyway, we can keep going.
So these differences are actually a lot more than people realize, even if we were at 96% similar, but we're not, because those original estimates were based on the way that they sequenced the chimp genome. So I actually used to work in the Genome Sequencing Center at Washington University in St. Louis, which is where they did the Human Genome Project. Now, I'm not old enough to have worked on the Human Genome Project. I worked on it after, or I got there after that had already gone to the computer programmers, and they were lining up the sequences that we'd created. So when you're sequencing something for the first time, you do something called shotgun sequencing, where you take, because you've got this 3 billion base pair stretch of DNA that's cut up into a number of chromosomes, but you take it and you cut it into about 2,000 base segments, and you just have a whole bunch of random ones from all over the genome. And then after you cut it up, you sequence them, because 2,000 base pairs is about as much as you can reliably sequence before it starts to become gibberish. And then you start overlapping them and say, okay, well, this one must come before this one because they have this overlap area. And then that's where the computer programmers came in, and they just kind of lined everything up and then developed a sequence from beginning to end, from chromosome 1 all the way to the Y chromosome.
Okay. All right.
And so that's tedious and time consuming, and it takes a lot of resources and a lot of manpower. And it took about 10 years for the Human Genome Project. So when they went to sequence the chimp genome the first time, they said, well, we know that humans are related to chimps, so we're just going to take that fully, annotated human genome sequence, and we're going to line the chimp pieces up with that.
So it's the exact same fallacy from earlier.
Yes, yeah. So they created a sequence that was similar,
hold on,
de facto.
Wait. But the question is, are we actually? Did it work? Were we able to show that these two line up? Is she going to address that, or is she going to say, like, No. I mean, that's kind of important, don't you think? If you're going to say, like, oh, we use this human scaffold, for instance, to line up the chimp genome, did it work? I'd like to know, did it work? See what she says.
Because they actually aligned it with the human genome sequence. So they actually had to go back and resequence the chimp genome in like 2016 or 2018. And then once they did that, they discovered that actually we're probably on the neighborhood of like 83 to 84% similar to chimps.
Pause.
Remember.
Pause. Okay, so she's lying. Like, what she's doing is just lying. She's using Tomkins data, or Tomkins argument, which is very bad. Erica did a whole video on how Tomkins got these ridiculously low numbers. Personally, I don't remember all of the steps that went into it. I do remember that part of it was he used a bugged program to try to do the sequence similarities. That was one of the things. But then even after they stopped using the bugged program, do you remember what else he did?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the bugged program also found, like, if you use that program and you compare one genome with itself, just you expect 100%, right? But you don't get 100% using that bugged program. Yeah, but even the updated program also has mistakes. Like, I remember the main issue was, like, Tomkins has like segments of the genome. Segment, like a whole list of segments. Some segments are longer and some are shorter. And he says, on average, each segment is about 80%, or like how was it figure? 85 or 88 or something. 85% similar to the chimpanzees. But he doesn't account for the length of each individual segment.
It was like 85 or so, yeah.
Yeah, so but he doesn't, like, he counts,
right?
Like, he weighs each segment equally, regardless of length. Like, if one segment of like 1,000 base pairs is like 90% similar to the chimpanzee, but another segment of about 50 base pairs is only like 10% similar to chimpanzees, like, he will weigh them equally. He doesn't account for the length of the segments. That's one major issue with that.
Right, that's right. I do remember. I remember Erica talking about that. And the funny thing was, he also himself just like straight up lied about the program being bugged, because Glenn Williamson over at Ruhif like emailed him and said, "Hey, this is bugged." And if I remember correctly, Tomkins told him like, "No, it isn't." And then shortly thereafter published a paper in conjunction with a couple other people pointing out that the program was bugged. So, like, you said it wasn't, and now here you are co-publishing a paper on the program being bugged. Seems a little sus, if you ask me. Seems a little sus. So yeah, so her saying this, she's just repeating creationist lies, and I'm sure they're going to eat it up because they're morons too, and they don't know any better. So that's what you're going to get. We can keep
50% similar to a banana.
Yeah.
So that's not really that remarkable. And the thing that that kind of retarded genetics.
So the other thing was, as Nestle pointed out, like, if you compare the genome, an individual's genome to itself, you get less than 100%. So what that means is, anytime you compare two genomes, the similarity of them is going to decrease by a lot. So, for instance, this is one thing Tomkins never did, and what Pam and other people are never going to talk about, because it also implodes their argument, is when you drop human and chimp similarity from like 97 or so percent down to like 80, 85, that's also going to drop the similarity for every other organism pair that you choose. So if you say like, oh, well, a house cat and a lion are in the same kind, they came from a common ancestor, their genetic similarity is going to be lower than that for humans and chimps. And it did the same thing for mice and rats. It dropped their genetic similarity lower than like 80 to 85%. It dropped into like the 70s, if I remember correctly. But of course, Pam's never going to bring this up. Thompson never brings this up, or Tomkins never brings it up. None of them ever talk about it because why would you? It's bad for your argument. So, okay, we can keep going.
For a long time was this idea that the genes were what was important because the proteins are what's important. And that actually sort of makes sense, but it doesn't really quite work, just for the same reason that I can't give you a box of lab equipment and tell you to teach a chemistry class, because you've got all the stuff that you need to do it with. So the proteins is all the stuff that your cell needs to do everything, but your cell doesn't know just from the proteins when to make the proteins, how much of the protein to make, where to make it, because you've got all that genetic information in every cell in your body, and every cell in your body has to function in a different way. And since it has to function in a different way, you have massive amounts of regulatory information. So that whole 98%
Don't you consider those genes also
came about basically because we thought the only thing that was important was genes for a really long time, and that everything else was junk. Well, it turns out
this is another creationist lie. They love telling this one. They love saying that anything that isn't transcribed was considered junk. That's not true. That's never been true. You can look at the early papers from like the 70s on junk DNA. The geneticists were aware of like tRNA. They were aware of mRNA and all that sort of stuff. They like
also regulatory gene or regulatory sequences as well, like promoters. They were already aware of those things.
Yep, they were aware of all of these things. So this idea that if it does not get transcribed into mRNA and then translated into a protein, then it's just junk DNA. Nope, that's totally ahistorical. It's just a lie, and they know it.
Also, to be fair, it's not just creationists who are doing it. Like even like some biologists are also like anti-junk DNA. Yeah, and they also make similar arguments. Yeah,
the ones who are on like the weird anti-junk DNA hobby horse, they also do that. Don't really know why. We can keep going.
That everything else isn't junk. And since it isn't junk, we've got a lot of problems. One is that we're not actually as similar to other organisms as we originally thought we were.
That's also a lie. The problem
is that the major mechanism whereby evolution is supposed to work, that of mutation plus natural selection, there's no room in your genome for the mutations that would have to occur in order to change one kind of animal into another kind of animal.
Yeah, species jumping like that.
About?
I mean, one of the examples
I
use, I think, is like when they brought European hogs over to.
Wait, but like I don't know what she even means by that. Like without junk DNA, you wouldn't have enough room for natural selection to turn one animal into another animal. Is that what she said?
That's what it sounded like, and I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. Does she think that the mutations only occur in junk regions, and that's how new species arise? Is that what she thinks?
You need room, Jackson, for change. You need the room. I have no idea what she means.
I also I don't know. I don't know what she means by that. Also, she said they only compared the protein coding genes. That's also just a lie. You can compare the entire genome, the whole thing. Junk DNA, protein coding DNA, regulatory sequences. You can compare all of them. And that's what researchers have done for the chimp genome, the bonobo genome. You compare them with humans, like with Neanderthal genomes. Like this is done. This has been done. Like this idea that you only compare, like just the protein coding regions, like that's just wrong. Sorry, again, just wrong.
And it's also like I think like many creationists are like complaining about the first figure was like 98%, like, but that figure was about the genome that was like non-repetitive and also did not concern like indels and such,
right?
Because like those regions were very difficult to sequence, especially the repetitive regions of the genome. Now that we know about the indels and the repetitive regions, then it's about 96% similarity between humans and chimps. Yeah.
And also Anthony up here seems to think that species new species can't form. He seems to be a Linnaean kind of creationist. I'm pretty sure he just said, yeah, they don't talk about how one species forms another. So like, of course, if you try to argue with him, I'm sure he would just jump to, well, those are still the same kind of organism, so it doesn't count, whatever.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. All right, we can keep going.
America over like a couple of 100 years, they develop tusks, right? So you'll have like an adaptation within that species, but you'll never see that pig become a frog or you're talking about a massive jump there where
it's true. You will never see pigs becoming frogs.
Part of the reason why they need to say these millions and millions of years also, because it needs to be over these incredibly long periods of time so that you can believe its plausibility. It's not
right, because you're just removing it from a human's ability to comprehend it once you start saying millions of years, because we don't really understand.
So again, for historical reference, because these three are all idiots, the idea that the Earth is millions of years old predates evolution. That actually goes back to like the 1700s, because you have even earlier. I think you have like Nicholas Steno and Hutton and all these other guys, and Lyell from the early 1800s, who looked at all sorts of different phenomena largely across Europe, but also like in like the US, and they were like, wow, there's no way these sorts of things could have formed either from the flood or within like a few thousand years. These phenomena, these formations must be millions of years old. There's no other way to explain them. And then Darwin came along in the mid 1800s and said, hey, I got this book on natural selection. So like, again, it's just wrong. They're just getting everything backwards and wrong because they're creationists. They don't know anything about history. So,
but Jackson, couldn't shapeshifting be a thing? Because we learned we learned in your conversation with TTOR that whales become dogs and then become whales again. So it's kind of shapeshifting, isn't it?
I mean, basically, shapeshifting could happen.
I really want someone to introduce Brad Keane back into Kent Hovind's little circle. Dogs always give birth to dogs, except when they become whales. Should mess with his mind.
A million. We don't have a mental framework for that.
Yeah.
I was at Tor Vergata in 2000 and for World Youth Day in Rome, and there were 2.2 million pilgrims at Tor Vergata. I don't have a concept of a million, and I was there.
You don't have a concept of a lot of things, Pamela.
It's just a number that's bigger than we can understand.
You hear some of the things they say with such confidence, and it's really wild because they will make statements of fact. There's a show on Netflix about life, and they create these computer generated images of what life was like 5 billion years ago, 4 billion years ago, and
5 billion years ago.
Take so much for granted.
Oh yeah, yes, I remember that period. What was the period ago again?
Made up.
The pre-Hadean.
About anything, and they will just make it like they know everything, and people will take that with
Peter,
such
can you run back
confidence
about 40 seconds? Can you run back about I need to understand what he's saying, because I'm not sure if my brain didn't interpret it correctly. I'm not sure if I heard him correctly say that like all the people who worked in that documentary don't know anything, or that paleontologists don't know anything. I just want to make sure that that's what he said.
It's going to be pretty tricky because this is a long video, so...
Oh, I'm sorry.
We don't really understand a million.
Here we go. Okay.
We don't have a mental framework for that.
Yeah.
I was at Tor Vergata in 2000 and for World Youth Day in Rome, and there were 2.2 million pilgrims at Tor Vergata. I don't have a concept of a million, and I was there.
Yeah.
It's just a number that's bigger than we can understand.
you hear some of the things they say with such confidence, and it's really wild because they will make statements of fact. There's a show on Netflix
You're talking about the
about
Morgan Freeman
life, and
documentary.
they create these computer generated images of what life was like 5 billion years ago, 4 billion years ago, and people will watch this and just take so much for granted in the fable they're telling there. Like,
Yeah.
it is completely made up. These people don't know anything about anything, and they will just make it like they know everything, and people will take that with such confidence as if
Okay,
it's a
so
statement of
pause for a
fact.
moment. Are we thinking this guy's like a dinosaur denier at this point? Like, because I'm kind of curious when he says stuff like they don't know anything about anything.
No.
I'm wondering if this guy's like a dinosaur denier or something.
So those
Would not shock me.
images, aren't they based on the fossils that we found and that we
They
can?
are.
And there are people who specialize in when you find a fossil, they bring back the animal as it should be, and these are people that have studied how to do this. I mean, we do this with facial reconstructions when we find a skull, and it can be pretty accurate. So I'm pretty convinced that we could do exactly the same thing, even with animals that have gone extinct, based on. Go ahead,
Peter. Would it be possible? Because I just looked him up on Twitter, and I would really like to. If it's not possible, I understand. I can just describe it. But if you could, if it would be possible for you, the Catholicism one on Twitter, if it would be possible to like post what his Twitter banner is, it's so deeply funny to me. If that's not possible, I understand.
No, we can do that.
I have to show the people, are the good people watching this, because I have seen it now. They all have to suffer as a result.
Let me see. It's Catholicism written in the same way you spell jism.
That he has it on the screen. Yeah, those are their Twitter handles, I guess. And then click on his banner and look at it. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Oh, hold on.
It looks really bad. It's for anyone who has not seen it. It's an AI image of presumably Mary, because he's Catholic.
Yes, hold on. I'm gonna get it on screen. Let me.
Okay.
Because this is too good to not show.
It is so funny. This has to be like sacrilege, doesn't it? This has to be sacrilege.
It has to be.
There's no shot. Absolutely no shot.
Yeah, so I'm trying to enlarge it as much as possible, so it's not entirely centered, but you could get everything that is important in the image is going to show.
Like the fact that she has a nose that's like flipped upwards, and her eyes closed. Like one of her eyes are closed, the other one's partially open. Her mouth is just kind of a hole in the center of her face. There's an angel that has a like warped head to her right.
Hold on.
And is missing a right arm. It just gets worse the longer you look at it. I think there's supposed to be a bird to her left.
There you go. She has a pig snout.
This.
She has a pig snout.
Look at this. Look at that. That has to be sacrilegious. Wow. There's no way. It has to be. Look at this bird over on the far right of the screen. That's supposed to be a bird. What is that?
Apparently, like
hold on. I need to
like a glass blower.
I need to move it over.
Symbol. Yeah.
Hold on. There we go. There's the.
Look at that. What is that?
It's
What is it?
It looks like some kind of sea creature to me. It's not a bird.
It looks like the face hugger from Alien.
And And so
Yeah, it's
the top
it looks
one,
like a
what's
spider with the front legs, like a spider
Yeah.
with only 2 front legs.
It's horrifying.
what's
Oh my
the one
God.
on top that looks like a hand puppet without the puppet?
I think it's also supposed to be a bird. Oh my God.
It could
Jesus Christ.
also be one of the Muppets, but then entirely white. I'm not entirely okay.
Yeah, what is up with her face? Why is her face a belly button, says Smitty. That's true. Why is her face a belly button? I don't know. The angel.
That angel only has
a deformed head.
Yeah, has
and one arm.
One arm and one leg, which is kind of twisted.
Why is his knee backwards? And what's going on there? Or ankle? Is this supposed to be the ankle?
And then we have a rooster that can fly without spreading its wings. You see the rooster?
Like on the angel in the middle. Is that the left arm a leg?
Maybe it might be. Yeah, I don't know.
Could very well be. And the one on the bottom has breasts. So I have never seen that before in a.
This is great. Oh, also Savage, Bivalve, Alpinist. Oh yeah, sorry. I said Mary. I said for Cobra for $5 says this is solid proof against the existence of the Catholic God. Just the fact that he hasn't been smitten with a lightning bolt.
Yes, definitely.
Oh my God. Oh yeah.
But I mean, I love the pig snout.
There are so many beautiful images that he could have chosen for his background. So many beautiful paintings and like frescoes and stuff of Mary. There are so many beautiful paintings he could have chosen, and he chose AI slop. It's terrible. Oh my goodness. Half angel, half melted candle. True. Oh, okay. Anyway, sorry. I just wanted to show that because I wanted to flip over to his profile just to see, like, you know, what does it look like? What are we looking like? And oh no, Peter, do you see what his bio says?
No, I'm going to send him a tweet. I want to know why Mary has a pig snout.
He says, so here is his bio from Twitter. Host on Avoiding Babylon, professional controversialist, and
high school
dropout.
Yes. Well, that
high school dropout. Yep, that tracks.
Yes,
that absolutely tracks.
And the fact he's so proud of that he puts that in his Twitter bio without a period at the end of the sentence.
That's so good. Is that also? No, I don't think that's AI. Oh, so he does the "oh man, which immigrants eat babies"? I hope that's a joke. I mean, they're babies dressed up as food, which is cute, but that's racist. So, you know, of course he's a racist. I mean, Lord.
That is an account. That is a parody account that he's citing there, and for some reason, it looks like he's taking them serious.
Wait, hold on. Wait, what? Wait, I'm confused.
The account that posted the food babies.
No, not this. I'm looking through some of his other tweets, and oh my God, this is so funny. Okay, I'm sorry. We're getting off on a tangent here. I apologize. Right, there is an endless supply of public domain Christian art, and he posts this slop. Tragic. Anyway, okay, sorry. I'm getting way sidetracked. We can get back to the video.
There is a lot of racism in his tweets too.
Yeah. Oh, sheesh. Oh man, that's terrible.
Oh, hold on. He didn't reply, did he? No,
Well,
he
okay.
didn't.
All right. Let's get back to the video.
Yes. Let's do that.
I apologize. I was getting way off tangent with that one. Okay, we can keep. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So Savage Biome
Rob-
Alpinist Cobra for $2 says, yep, professional ignorant. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, correct. I'm sure he's a trumper, and all that jazz. So, okay, all right. Anyway, all right, we can keep going.
Let's play that other Jimmy Akin clip, because he talks about certain genetics that are in humans that he deduces that we must have had ancestors that laid eggs or something. So I want to play this clip and then hear what you.
Oh, he's probably talking about the vitellogen pseudogene, which is for egg yolk, which we don't use because we don't lay eggs. I mean, that's a perfectly valid argument because we do have that pseudogene and we don't lay eggs. We don't have yolk in our, or at least I guess I should say we don't have like a properly working like yolk sac in our.
We still have the structure of the yolk sac, but it doesn't. It's not filled with yolk.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
This is actually
super weird thing
this
to
is actually
have.
one. Yeah. It is actually one I remember like many years ago we did a video about, I think it was like evidence for evolution, like, or predictions. It was predictions for evolution.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those predictions was regarding the vitellogenin pseudogene. And I remember like a raw Matt also responded to that video, and he made a note. Like actually, it's actually credit where credit is due. It's actually a good note. Is that the yolk sac is still important for us. Like it provides a structure, and without that structure, we wouldn't be able to develop properly. But the point still remains about the, of course, the vitellogenin gene. It's not making yolk anymore. So that point still remains, of course, and he did not address that point. Yeah.
I mean, this is the same guy who thought like the actual gene got moved to like the cytoplasm. So
Mm-hmm.
So
all right, we keep going.
Well, I want to address something that Smitty said. Smitty, just be careful and mocking people like that, because we all know that Jeesh is the son of Gosh, and if you keep posting stuff like that, he will send you to heck. So
That's
careful.
True.
There you
go. What you would say to Jimmy in this?
Had some blue-eyed ancestors. Now, let's look at a problem that all species have when reproducing: how to get nutrients to their unborn children. We humans solve this problem using placentas. A placenta is an organ that we develop as unborn children, but we don't keep our placentas. They fall off at birth. Placentas are temporary organs, like the tail of a tadpole. A tadpole's tail falls off when it becomes a frog, and a human's placenta falls off when it's born.
I'm not going back, but so the guy with the black hair and the beard, his head grows.
Yeah, that's the creationist.
Yeah, his head grows and shrinks when he moves. Just saying. I mean,
does it?
Yes.
I wasn't paying attention.
Yes, it does.
What placentas do is allow us to get nutrients from like our mothers. Kirk. The placenta attaches to the mother's womb, and it gets nutrients from her body that allow the baby to grow. But not all species have placentas. Birds and reptiles lay eggs,
there it goes again.
So there's no way their babies can get nutrients from the mother's body after the eggs are laid. As a result, all of the nutrients the baby bird or baby reptile will need have to be stored in the egg itself, and that's the function of the egg's yolk. The yolk is a ball of nutrients that the baby will need to develop until it's born and can start eating with its mouth. So how do birds and reptiles make egg yolks for their babies? As you'd expect, this is determined by their genes. Birds and reptiles have genes that allow them to make a kind of protein known as vitellogenin, which is the main source of nutrients in an egg yolk. And the genes that control the production of vitellogenin are known as VIT genes. Now, here's the thing. It isn't just birds and reptiles that have VIT genes. Even though we humans use placentas rather than egg yolks to feed our unborn babies, humans also have VIT genes. In us, they don't work because placentas, but we still have the genes. So what explains why humans have the genes to produce
I want to make a
egg
prediction. I want to make a prediction. Here's my prediction. I'm sure Nestle would make the same exact one.